Hi survivors, it's me Prepper Zan reporting to you. Hope you guys are doing well because what's going on in this world is not. It's horrible to say the least. But today I want to talk to everybody about being displaced and what it means to be displaced. We're living in a time of ugly agendas. We're just living in a time of so much evilness, so much corruption, and so many different things that are doing that is affecting our lives, unfortunately, in a negative way. And it's costing us a lot of our money, a lot of our time. I will say for a lot of people, a lot of health complications, because people are stressed out and there's situations that are continuously occurring that's keeping people on the edge, like I just mentioned, being stressed and having to spend a bunch of money. We know whenever there's times of emergencies, your money can become depleted immediately. And so I just want to talk to us about being displaced and how we can prepare for it and be prepared for it, where it won't cost us all our emotions, all our time, stress, and all of our money. We'll already be prepared mentally, physically, and then we'll have the supplies and the things that we need and the resources in regards to money and to be able to survive these things. So I pulled up the word displaced, right? Because I want to, sorry, I know it's a little dark in here. I'll go back in the light. Give me a second. I pulled up the word displaced so we can have a good definition of what it is to be displaced. Okay, and the definition of displaced, one of them is to force someone to leave their home, typically because of persecution, of war, or natural disaster, right? So we're just going to stick with that one. The other one is to move from its proper or usual place. Because right now, even over there and overseas, a lot of those people are being displaced for more than one reason. It's in one area we hear about the draft, right? Allegedly, and how people are fleeing so they won't have nothing to do with that nonsense foolishness. And I don't blame them. We hear about other people, where there's tsunamis and there's earthquakes and all these natural disasters. Well, I won't call them natural, but so-called natural disasters that are occurring, and those people are being displaced, losing their homes and all their things. Now here in the States, we just see what happened out there in Florida, and those people just had to just up and go. Those who decided to. There were a lot of people who also stayed. Y'all, being displaced is no joke. I've seen it time and time again, been in storms and stuff in Texas, and also seeing our neighboring state, Louisiana, during Katrina, and all these different types of disasters, weather-related disasters that occur, and they be having to flee to Texas. And y'all, it's just so many different dynamics to this, right? So a lot of times when you're not, I'll talk about the finance, when you're not financially prepared for it, you automatically at the mercy of somebody else's help. You need help. Most of the time, people seek help from who? The government. So you might have to go to a FEMA camp or to a shelter. Sometimes they would have like different hotels set in place. And then sometimes you just on your own. I know out there in New Orleans, they were all in that dome before they start busing them to Texas and to Atlanta and all these different other neighboring states around them. Those people were in the dome. There were people, it was feces and urine everywhere because it was so nasty. There was no water in the city, no lights. Y'all, these are just small examples. And then it's like, you have to depend on people for food. Or if you have money, you have to pay for food. And if you have money, you might want to try to find a hotel in the city in which you are fleeing to, because you're fleeing from wherever you're located. That stuff costs so much money. And these people in these industries, knowing that there's emergency situation, and so they price gouge on all these different things. So I just want to talk to us about being prepared to be displaced. Whether it be you putting up money, you praying every day to have your mind right and have it right with God, and you can hear the voice of God giving you instructions and telling you on what to do. You working out every day, stretching and exercising so your body will be prepared. And I've learned a lot of times when you eat less and you working out and whatnot, your mind is sharper. You could think clearer. You could make better choices and decisions, you know, and things of this nature. So also, and also being displaced, I'm going to talk to you guys in the next video about supplies that you should always have at hand in your bug out bag. So when it comes time for you to just have to up and go, all you do is pick up that bag and you're gone. And you already have all the content inside of this bag that you're going to need. Y'all, when I travel, I've learned from years of being displaced in these storms. Like, I could just really talk about it for hours, to be honest with you. You know, like, there are certain things that you'll need that'll help you. Not, well, food and water are most important, of course, but the supplies, like, I have canned goods. I need can openers. I need a knife to protect myself. I need lighters. I'm gonna show you guys ways where you can know how to cook. And if you don't have like the portable stoves, or of course you don't have well, there are portable barbecue pits, but sometimes in some instances you don't want to use barbecue pits, because if it's a situation when the grid is down and people don't have food and you out cooking and people can smell it, it could be a problem. But there's ways that you can cook that doesn't really cost you any money. Things that you have right around your house that you can use, where you could take these things with you, put it in your bug out bag, and you'll be able to cook and stuff like that. One time, it's so many times I could talk about being displaced, y'all, in the agendas. I'm gonna talk about the last time when I was in that tornado in the countrysides where my land is located in Texas. It was so bad. The grid was down. All of us in the community at that time, I had a little small generator, but of course it couldn't help everybody else. And there were no other generators. People, we were talking about, okay, we stayed at our homes for a couple of days, and we were talking about, okay, if we're not able to continue to stay here, because we had elderly people. I had my mother. Other people had elderly people with them. So we're going to have to get them to somewhere where there's lights and water and gas and stuff like that so they can survive, right? So I was like, okay, well, they have... the Red Cross, they were giving out hotels. So for people who needed a place to stay. So I went to check it out, right? I checked it out and they was like, oh, we have to give you that test, to test the illness. You got to wear the mask. You got to do this. They have all these rules and regulations and agendas. This was just recently. Other times when we had to be displaced, we would have to go to shelters. It would be so filthy, y'all. The shelters would be nasty. They give you whatever kind of food they have available. Most of the time it's some nasty type of food. People around there, they're sick. They're coughing all over you. I mean, it's just... it's just a lot of questionable people. The environment is not safe. It's not clean. And then they have agendas on top of that. Sometimes, people have to sleep in their cars. Even sleeping in your cars is expensive. You have to keep running the gas. You have to keep making sure you have, Freon, and you make sure you have all your liquids for your car, your transmission fluids, your waters, your oils, and then you have to be up on watch all night. You have to eat out a lot. So there's a lot with being displaced. So I like to encourage you guys to just keep some money saved. We're living in those times. We saw when the illness first occurred in 2020, how people was up and moving all their belongings, or just moving whatever they had to other places, especially here in the city. People were dying all around them. People was getting sick. It was bad. So they were just up and leaving. Y'all, it's been like that ever since then. And these storms are displacing people. These agendas are displacing people. All this crime displacing people. The inflation, people moving to other areas that are cheaper. So, we just have to put on our seatbelts, put on our whole armor of God, continue to fight, continue to pray. Surviving is not easy. Everybody's going through so much, man. And I wish everybody the best. I send you all my prayers. I hope you guys send prayers my way too, because we've been going through a lot of trying times. And a lot of people been passing in the event of it. I don't know if y'all noticed. I know that's another video, but a lot of people been dying behind all this stuff that's going on. So it would just behoove us to have our minds, our bodies, and our monies right, and be ready to be displaced. Have a plan set in place, y'all. We have to leave today or tomorrow. Where we going, which different routes you can go. Of course, it depends on what areas are safe, if they're not being flooded, if it's a weather-related event, whatever the case is. Where will we go? Have your bug out bag ready and equipped. Have some cash on hand, So now I'm going to go over the supplies in the next video. And you guys, please give this video a thumbs up. Please follow me on my other platforms. On Patreon and BitChute. On Patreon, I have survivalism classes in regards to how to properly properly purify your water, all types of different things, grants on how to get money now these days. And also, please support the Allegedly and the Good Luck with that t-shirts. All the proceeds go back into the channel. I would really, truly appreciate that. And if you're looking for land in bug out areas in Texas, I do have some for sale and for lease on my website. And as always, watch this world, watch the weather, smell your water, boil your water before you use it, and keep surviving.